Hey,
Hello, everyone.
Hey,
Great to have
Gregory.
you here. Excited to kick off this year's community dev call. Hi, Patrick.
woohoo!
All
Hey,
right,
Patrick. Good to
calling
see
in
you.
from the Peruvian Amazon. Um, okay, everybody. Well, I'll give a brief introduction and overview about how we try to run the calls, and then I'll sort of jump in and we'll go through our updates and try to leave a little room for conversation and discussion. I know there's a lot to talk about. So,
Just before you do that, Gregory, a little just good job today. This morning, Gregory presented to the entire Cosmos community on this program called Unified DAO. He gave a demo of our work, and it was awesome. Well
thank you.
received by the community.
Awesome. Thanks
Yeah.
so much, Christian.
Good.
Yeah.
And we'll share a link. We'll share links to that demo with folks coming up. Great. So the way we like to run these calls is keeping them to 30 minutes if possible. We've been doing them monthly. Likely we're going to start some sort of weekly call more focused on the test nets when we get to launching our test net. I'll give everybody more details about that. So this is a monthly call, 30 minutes. We try to give about 15 minutes of sort of jam-packed information about where we are, including a review of our public roadmap. And then we try to open it up to have conversation, questions, comments, and then if people would like to continue conversation, we just turn off recording after 30 minutes. And if there's still conversations to have, we kind of let people chat. Otherwise, we can all go about our days. So with that kind of overview, I'm going to get going with the presentation. So let me just, oh, sorry about the technical glitch here. Here we go. All right. So the big news, which many of you have heard, of course, is the Stargate Cosmos SDK release has happened. It happened last week, and we're really excited about it. Congratulations to the Regen engineering team, which was instrumental working alongside the Tendermint core team and the IBC teams to get this out. This is really probably the biggest software release in Cosmos history, and it's really exciting. I know there's lots of buzz. Just wanted to start out by giving kudos. A bunch of representatives of the engineering team are here, so good work, everybody. Thank you for all your hard work on that. As you may know, Regen Network is itself building on the Stargate release for Regen Ledger and the Regen SDK. So this is really important and instrumental in our roadmap as well as a much broader community. I think there's well over 200 sovereign blockchains now using the Cosmos SDK, and I think pretty much all of them will be running Stargate, which allows for native Internet of Blockchain communication. Okay, so the next big thing to announce for our community is we are going to be launching our final Regen Network testnet, Aplicado, which is Esperanto for the application testnet. So we're going to be launching live with our blockchain that has the data module, the credit module, and the groups module, all of the core functionality necessary to issue, exchange, and retire carbon credits and other natural capital assets. So we're going to be launching that on February 8th. And gives us a little bit of time to tie up some loose ends and gives us time to communicate with everybody, get the validator community up and running, finish some docs, just get everything running. It's important to note that the total allocation of XRN, our native staking token, that has been allocated for testnets in general is at our current private sale rate. worth over $500,000. And this is the largest allocation. So there's going to be a lot of value that can be earned by participating in the testnet. So we're really excited about that. We're really interested in tokens being in the governance tokens of this public network for ecological accounting being in the hands of our validators and developers, communities around the world. I'm really excited to have Patrick on, who's been thinking and working a little bit about how to bring in some indigenous Amazonian folks into the validator community. So yeah, really excited to be distributing so much stake to our community through this process. So stay tuned if you're interested in that. There's a Medium post, there's a link to this. I'll also be sharing a copy of this presentation. This Medium post sort of goes through the entire testnet. There's also, I think, we'll post some links to the new testnet docs, and pretty soon there'll be a testnet specific repo for this final testnet up on GitHub. Another big, this is sort of just big news in Regen Network world, and we've been really excited about it. We haven't shared about it much. We'll be sharing more details later. We can't share 100% of the details, but we can say with great excitement that last year's pilot to monitor and verify soil carbon outcomes and create credits in New South Wales, Australia. 100% of that pilot credit vintage was purchased by a large tech company that had a very rigorous process of determining where their carbon offsets were going to go. So we're just really excited about that traction, and just to be able to show how everything works and show that there is in fact sort of demand, and that the way we're going about things is sort of has a lot of validity. So we'll share more details. I think there'll be some public press releases with all the details about that coming. So last thing is to just go briefly over our public Notion roadmap and just get everybody acquainted with that, do a quick overview. It's the best way to stay acquainted with all the different moving parts and pieces of what's happening in the Regen Network world. So I'm just going to change tabs here and head over to the Regen Network roadmap in our Notion. So I'll just post a link to this in the Zoom. Oh, I can't do Zoom chatting while I'm screen sharing. Anyway, I'll post it in Discord and Telegram after the call. You can see right now, as I was noting, there's a little bit of work to do, a review process going on with the group module. Otherwise, all of the important modules that are needed for our final functionality for mainnet launch are completed, which is very exciting. Cosmos SDK, you can see what's in process here, working hard on an 0.4.1 release, which should be out pretty soon. And some really exciting work on key and fee management. You can tune into these Cosmos SDK specific conversations during the monthly Cosmos SDK community call, which is alternating. So it's will be, I guess, I'll post the link to the date. I don't remember the exact date for the next one, but it's also a monthly call, and we go over details about that. Okay, so Regen Registry. So Regen Registry is the sort of front end. This is where people can go to the website and buy and have an interaction with the Regen Ledger blockchain. Here you can sort of see what's happening. I'm not going to go into great detail. If people have questions or comments, we really strive to do a build in public ethos. So have a look, have conversation with us. You can also see science, what's been released, what's in progress. They're doing some huge heavy lifting. The science team is really the responsible party for that amazing sale of credits because of the innovation and hard work that they did. So just big kudos to them. And if people are interested, there is an open science Discord channel and Telegram channel if you'd like to start digging into the work that's happening there. And Open Team, as many of you may know, we're really active members of the Open Team network. There's actually a little touch-up I need to do on this roadmap to update it. There's some really interesting work going on with the clearinghouse concept and sort of digital identity and data permissions taking place. So that's kind of the quick whirlwind overview of what's been happening in the Regen world to get the new year started. There's a lot of activity. High level overview and synopsis before I sort of open it up for questions, comments, and conversation is we are still on track to launch mainnet at the end of March, the end of Q1 2021. Our final test net, which is going to have a lot of points and tokens allocated to it, is slotted to start on February 8th. And we're going to start publishing docs and just giving everybody all the clarity needed to charge into this final round of network testing coming up. So with that, I'll just take a breath and a pause and see if there's questions or comments or any conversation to have. Anything's welcome. Not everybody all at once, though. I see Patrick just came on video. Hey, Patrick.
Hey, so I am excited to finally be sitting down and getting into this. I've just started looking again at the details for running a validator, looking at the code, seeing if I run a first experiment in a Docker container on my computer and see where we go from there. So I'm curious, as you mentioned, with getting indigenous communities and federations on board. I've talked with a number of folks, and I know there is the allocation of a third or 30% of the governance tokens for, was it land stewards, scientists, and indigenous communities? So I'm curious if
and developers who aren't necessarily participating in the sale, as well as, we sort of added a last group there, which actually landscapes that have some sort of corporate personhood or sort of rights of nature framework for the landscape itself. So we're hoping that there might be some forests or rivers or mountains included as well. Yeah.
Awesome. And how is that part of the process going? I imagine that's not, the plan is not to have that all figured out by mainnet launch, but to over time allocate those bit by bit.
Yeah, so the Regen Foundation, the 501c3, post mainnet launch is going to be responsible for sort of running the process around the community staking DAO allocation, which is the allocation of these governance tokens, these non-exchangeable governance tokens to sort of known organizations or individuals representing these stakeholders that we think are really essential for good governance of Regen Network. So our aim is to have 5 community staking DAOs endowed by mainnet launch. That's kind of our stretch goal. And mostly we're focusing on the developer sort of category, where there's people who have a certain amount of sort of cyber sophistication, and because there's a lot to learn. It's complex, and some of the user interface stuff isn't mature. So for instance, we have a sort of a handshake agreement with Commons Stack, which is a really fantastic community doing great work around commons management, and they've agreed to be one of our first community staking DAOs. And there's a couple of other sort of early adopters where there's people who are already kind of already understand what it takes to govern a piece of software that's being, and the consensus around that software being run by multiple nodes in a network. And so then, as we sort of establish things, our thinking is that it's going to take some time to mature relationships with land stewards, indigenous communities, because there's a lot of education that needs to take place for people to understand and engage with what it means to be sort of a governing stakeholder in this kind of public ecological financial infrastructure that we're creating. So yeah, we're not aiming to try to cram all of that in before we launch mainnet, but sort of go slow and sort of titrate the knowledge into the community so that people can really understand what they're getting themselves into and be really solid sort of digital citizens.
Cool, cool. I guess that also means that the folks with the highest tech capacity, the developers, will be the sort of the guinea pigs. They'll be the pilot test for that process. So hopefully that will also iron out some of the process, so that when communities are ready to get involved, the whole thing is smoother, like you say, with a better UI and things like that.
Exactly. And our hope, because this is sort of such a cross-cultural, global, and place, bioregion, culture-specific thing, our hope is that the first sort of cohort of developer DAOs essentially have connection with indigenous communities or cultures or farmers, land stewards, science groups that they would like to be sort of building the interface for, right? And troubleshooting. And so there's a little bit of people taking leadership to make sure that there is a user interface that works. And I think we'll sort of it'll entrain towards a common experience for people, but we are interested in, relationships with developers who have sort of specific, like Open Team, for instance, I think will be one of the sort of like first DAOs, which is already an existing community and works a lot with farmers, right? And a set of farmers, specifically in the North American context. So that community knows a lot about the farmer land steward needs, what their data privacy needs, and all these other things. So they can sort of be working on the user interface and the relationship, and then the farmers themselves can then come in and sort of claim their sort of stake in the network as things mature. And in your case, living and working a lot in the Ecuadorian Amazon and with Amazonian communities, you might be thinking in that sort of like phased way. And I know Anil at Vitwit, we've had lots of great conversations with the Vitwit team, which is in India, and they have lots of connections and relationships with Indian farming families. And so in this way, we hope to be able to sort of spread the network and really anchor it in the hands of the users, to be governed by the users.
Cool.
Great question.
Very good. Mm-hmm. Well, I'll wait and see if anybody else has more questions, and if nobody else pops up, then I'll keep asking.
Awesome. Does anybody? There's several folks from the engineering team. Do you all have any comments or upgrades or things that you feel like it'd be useful to share? If not, I'm curious. I'd love to just, Victor from Melia Staking is here. Welcome, Victor. It's nice to see you. It's been a little while. I'm curious. I imagine you're pretty busy. There's been so much activity over since we ended our last testnet. I'm just curious. This is one of the things that I've been thinking a lot about, just sort of like our validator community and, timing and stuff. I just would love to hear if you're excited and ready to go, or feeling like there's a lot of different things holding your attention coming up into February.
Hello, everyone. I am ready to go. I think it's a good moment for Regen now with Cosmos SDK ready. And if it's in the door for the launch, 28th January, the grade, I think it's a good moment for Regen push that mainnet out before summer. I am ready. I am trying to focus in the project I was working into last year for start this year, and now going for new projects so far.
Great. Well, thanks for hopping on the community call here. It's good to have you back, and excited about the test nets. Should be a lot of fun.
Thank you. Thank you.
And Anil, is there anything that you'd like to share? You'll be one of the lead figures in organizing and helping launch the test net. Is there anything that you're interested in sharing with folks?
Yeah, this is one of the biggest test nets that we're gonna have. So super excited. Like, how long we gonna run this test net? Is it 3 weeks or else 4 weeks?
Yeah, a month or so, I would say. I think I put a window of 5 weeks just in case, although I think we'd like to, probably keep it a month. Yeah.
Okay. So would there be only validator operations or else will there be tasks related to region specific modules?
Yeah, well, my hope, yes, I would like to be working, and Will is here from RSI and his own work in other places. And Will did a bunch of great work using COSM-WASM for quadratic voting. My hope is that we're going to design some really great ways for validators to engage with sort of a region-specific business model and engage in some sort of prizes and development opportunities for functionality that can find its way onto mainnet. So yeah, there'll be sort of like the usual rhythm of upgrades and testing and making sure that the network stands up to, all works and all the transaction types work, and sort of incentives structured with that. But I also think we'll have some more sort of creative prize opportunities for people to engage with building custom modules or creating credit class types. And there'll be some prize allocation for folks to sort of get creative, because the best case scenario, I think, for our validators is that they do indeed have sort of relationship with the utility on the blockchain, and not just sort of, although it is great to just run a highly secure node, I think the best economic opportunity and the most interesting in terms of creating a really robust network is for validators to also have sort of upstream relationship with the value proposition. So we'll do our best to design some opportunities for that, and ideas are very welcome. So you don't necessarily, if you're not a validator yourself and you're interested in potentially partnering with validators who to like help them build capacity, since you don't necessarily just jump into being a validator or just jump into having sort of the mind to create a monitoring methodology for credit issuance, for instance. We'll do our best to maybe do some matchmaking, and of course people can go onto the Telegram DVD channel or the Discord channel, and if you're interested in finding sort of partnerships or relationships to play around during the incentivized testnet to do that kind of thing, we would highly encourage it.
Great. Yeah, I think last time Open Team built some Oracle. So would there be Oracles available for this testnet or else?
Yeah, exactly. No, I think we'll be able to use the oracles that were developed. That there were some existing connections between FarmOS and RSI through CosmWasm, and there's some work right now. I think there may be some pending development work to make it all ready, but I'm not sure. Potentially, I mean, Corey would be the right person. He's out of office today, but I think there's a little bit of work on the digital signature side of things to really get that where we'd like it to be. But at the very least, I think we can hack something together. And best case scenario is some of that work is actually complete. So I think yes, and the exact degree to which sort of serving as an oracle sort of comes online, I think we have a little bit of work to do. So that's a good thing to sort of throw on our discussion agenda and maybe chat through on Discord a little bit.
Awesome. Thanks.
Yeah. Anil, do you mind just throwing something up on the Regen Ledger channel of Discord, and we can chat about it there and just dig in a little bit?
Yeah, sure. I'll
Awesome.
do that.
Fantastic. Cool. We've got a couple more minutes here. Would love if people have questions or comments. I'd love to take them. Otherwise, we can end a little bit early and see each other on the interwebs.
Hi there again. One of the questions I had when I was reading through
Patrick,
the community governance pool, can't also is prohibited from also being an investor, or something like that. There was something about you can't be on both sides of the token holding situation. But I wonder if you could clarify that a bit. Like if I'm part of a community and that community is in the governance, the community governance staking pool, then am I not allowed to also buy some XRN?
oh, that's a great question. Our intention is to have the allocation of the community staking DAOs go to organizations that by and large would for some reason not necessarily be able to participate in the sale. We realize that there may be some crossover between individuals who are working with organizations, and I think we just need to approach that with sort of the mindset of what's going to make the best distribution and the clearest sort of opportunity for users governing things in a decentralized and coherent way. So yeah, our private sale is open just to accredited investors. Of course, though, if you're participating as a validator and you're like competing to win XRN tokens, and then maybe you are also participating to help steward some sort of community staking DAO, I think that that's fine. I don't think there's any problem with that. And
Okay.
I also would note that there's been some folks have asked us to have some sort of ability to transition the sort of like fully liquid XRN, which you would win in the process of the incentivized testnet, or which you would purchase, into the illiquid community staking DAO and have some sort of like transaction rate, exchange rate, so that you could actually like change them so that at Genesis they're locked and you're sort of actually in the staking DAO community, which means that it's non-exchangeable, non-fungible. And so I'm really excited about that conversation. Like, what would it look like to sort of like, transition into a, from sort of being fully liquid to someone who's sort of has their tokens permanently locked as just a part of the staking DAO governance body. So there's an ongoing conversation to have. We can chat about that also in Discord, and just, people can throw out ideas and we can start to solidify some thinking about that moving towards mainnet launch.
Okay, so that original distinction was more about the public sale, and then once mainnet launch happens, there will be some. Correct me, maybe I'm missing a piece here, but there's the governance tokens, and then there's also some amount of liquid XRN that will be traded freely. And if after mainnet launch, somebody who lives in a community that's as part of the community staking DAO, if that person wants to buy some liquid XRN, there's no regulation around that.
Yeah, no, people could buy. That's correct.
Okay, cool.
One question: where is the link about this sticking down, or can I understand better?
Yeah, I'll. There's a nice write-up about it.
It's like a stacking, like going a stacking pool. Well, I can read. No, don't worry. Drop me the link and I can check.
Yeah, I'm just gonna throw it in the public Discord and here in the channel.
situation.
There we go. So you can have a read over that, and if you've got any questions, let me know. Happy to chat more about it. Fantastic. Well, yeah, really grateful for everybody's attention. It's been a good action-packed 30 minutes here, and we'll see you all in a month. There will definitely be a incentivized testnet focused information call before then, because a month from now we'll already be in the incentivized testnet. So we'll share the call date or maybe dates around just sort of information for the upcoming incentivized testnet as we approach. Probably look out for something around the 1st of February as far as just a sort of a overview of all of the resources and the timing and what's happening for the incentivized testnet.
Will that be communicated through Discord and the DVD channel on Telegram, or?
Yep, Discord, Telegram, Twitter.
Cool.
We'll put it through all the channels.
Perfect.
Yep.
All right. Thanks a lot, Gregory.
Thanks, everyone.
See you next one. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Good to see you,
Bye.
Patrick.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye bye, Christian.
Bye-bye.